For a few months now, we've been patiently awaiting news about the new DC movie universe, and throughout this time, we've really only been able to stitch together any information we could gather from James Gunn's post replies and likes on social media. Gunn said a while ago that we'll be getting information sometime in January, and when I say information, I mean official announcements about movies and or TV shows, and as we approach the middle of the month, it more and more seems like it'll be the very last possible day in January. For right now, we at the very least know that it won't be in the next few days, unless of course if you're watching this after January 14th, in which case anything is possible. We know this because of the tweet that James Gunn replied to, which confirms that while the news can't come early enough to be a birthday present for this guy, it will come sometime in January after his birthday, which is January 14th, meaning it could very well be January 15th, the very next day I guess is also counted as a late birthday present, but that really just means any day between January 15th and January 31st. But that aside, let's get into all of the actual hints we've gotten from James Gunn in the last week, which to be fair isn't nearly as much as previous weeks, but not only is it not nothing, but it also kind of feels like the calm before the storm. That will be hopefully the actual announcements next week. To start things off, on January 6th, James Gunn tweeted about everything he did on that particular day, which sounded packed with work for things that I will love. For instance, he did a few things for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What's relevant for this video, other than the two big DC studio meetings he was in, which obviously we don't know really anything about, is the fact that he wrote 1/3 of an unannounced DC TV show. Now, I don't know how a TV show writing process works or what it looks like, but assuming that this show will be the same length as Peacemaker, which was 8 episodes long, let's say maybe it'll be 9 episodes long, maybe he wrote 1/3 of the show, meaning 3 episodes. To write 3 episodes of a TV show in a single day while also doing all the other things that he said he did sounds insane to me. But that does bring up the question, foreshadowing, of what the TV show will be, and for right now, we honestly have no idea, because it could literally be anything aside from all the TV shows that have already been confirmed to be in development, like Green Lantern, or Superman already has a TV show and also a movie in development in this new universe. I could tell you all the heroes he's hinted at, or all the heroes I think is more likely to get a TV show than a movie, but the fact of the matter is, all of those hints really just make those certain characters like slightly more likely to be the subject of this show than any other character in the DC universe. But this tweet actually indicates something else that I did notice with Peacemaker, which is that it came out really quickly. Peacemaker was greenlit less than a year before it came out, and if you compare that to the rest of the DC Universe projects, or even everything that Warner Brothers has under its belt, the comparison is wild, because Warner Brothers is notorious for having things like announced, and then they're in development for years or decades even, and then they come out and they're not even that good. Like, there's always a 50-50 chance that something that DC releases is bad. Like Black Adam, for instance, was in development for a decade. All that development, all that build up for that movie, and then you have countless different TV shows and movies that are announced that never come out. I managed to make an entire cinematic universe that actually works really well out of canceled DCEU movies. Only movies from the DCEU, and there are much more that were never a part of the DCEU. Warner Brothers, and more specifically DC, are notoriously terrible at following through with the things they announce, and even then, it takes forever to make those things, and even then, there's like a 50-50 chance that it will be good. You compare that with Marvel, and they've announced one movie that hasn't come out. They never wanted to make that movie, and that movie got turned into a TV show, that being Inhumans. I mean, it's crazy how bad DC is at making the things that they promise to make in comparison to Marvel. So, with James Gunn being so thorough with what he's making, and the new leadership behind DC being James Gunn, I think this is a completely new direction for this studio. I think they're actually going to follow through with the things they promise, because James Gunn is just really good at making things and making them quickly, and as far as I could tell, making them good. Now, I'll admit that there isn't really that much evidence to back all this up, that James Gunn is that good at it. Like, there's like Peacemaker and the fact that he wrote 1/3 of a show in a day, which is impressive, but there isn't really anything beyond that. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies are more so just Marvel's business model of turning things out really quickly, and they turn out really well most of the time. This is just more so me hoping that this will be the case, because I'm so sick of DC, and the fact that they announce something and there's like a 20% chance that it'll ever come out, and if it does come out, it may take 10 years to make, and then, even then, it'll probably be bad. Like with Man of Steel 2 being announced with Black Adam, even then I was thinking there's like maybe a 20% chance that this movie is going to be made, and then 2 months later, it's canceled. So this is more so just me hoping that this will be the case, that everything that James Gunn has planned for the next 8 to 10 years of his DC movie slate and TV shows, I'm hoping they're all made and they're all put into quick development, and that this new leadership is better at actually making good movies like Marvel has been for the last 15 years. James Gunn liked a tweet that said that if he brings us a live-action version of The Question, then his DC universe will be an automatic success. This would continue James Gunn bringing Charlton Comics / Earth 4 characters to live-action for the first time streak, as he brought Peacemaker and Judo Master to live-action for the first time in The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, respectively. He's excited about the upcoming Blue Beetle movie, which I know isn't Jaime's live-action debut, nor is Jaime from Earth 4, but Ted Kord has yet to appear in live action, aside from one appearance in Smallville where he wasn't the Blue Beetle, so I could definitely see James Gunn bringing in Ted Kord Blue Beetle to live action for the first time as well, probably alongside Booster Gold. Gunn has also hinted at loving the character of Captain Atom, and finally he's now hinted at the final piece of the Earth 4 puzzle, The Question. I would love to see all the main Earth 4 heroes on screen together as an homage to the comics, but also, more specifically with The Question, he really has the potential to be a great character, which was already proven, not in live action yet, as again, he hasn't appeared in live action yet, but in animation, more specifically Justice League Unlimited, a show which featured most of the established DC heroes in some way, at least at the time. But The Question, a D-lister who nobody knew about beforehand, managed to be one of the 5 most compelling and interesting characters in that show. I am specifically talking about Justice League Unlimited, not Justice League, where he hadn't appeared. So while I admit I have only really ever been exposed to The Question in that show, plus a few comics where he isn't really a major character, that show was more than enough for me to become a fan of this character, and I'm definitely excited to see The Question in live action. It's important to note that trusted insider who's gotten a lot of things right, Daniel Richman, also liked that tweet, further hinting that a Question project is in development, and that may be the TV show that he was talking about earlier. If they are making a Question project, and I could choose what kind of project it is, like a movie or a TV show, well, first of all, I think that a special presentation could work, as I don't think a cinematically released movie would make sense for a character like The Question, but a special presentation on HBO Max would work, but that's not really something that DC is doing. It's something that's kind of unique to Marvel right now, so if that's not an option, then a TV show I think could be really cool, with a similar style to Peacemaker, not in tone, obviously. The show would be like a dark detective conspiracy thriller, but what I meant is more so like the structure, like 8 episodes, a generally high budget, maybe with a famous actor in the role. Now, I don't know who they should cast in the role, but whoever it is, it should be someone who is willing to get almost no face time, as I think they should go with something like The Mandalorian, which is very unique in that it had the balls to have its main character wear a helmet for 100% of his screen time. That's unprecedented for TV shows, even movies. This proved that audiences could connect to a character without ever seeing his face, his eyes, or physical emotions, although Baby Yoda / Grogu being there definitely helped. My point is, this might have paved the way for a Question TV show where he's wearing his mask for most of his screen time, a mask which I'm assuming will look super creepy since he doesn't have a face. We saw it on animation a couple times and it doesn't look that creepy, but I'm assuming in live action it will look way creepier. If that is what they are making, then I am excited, but even if they do something a bit more toned down, where we do see him as a regular person, as Vic Sage, a lot more, that is also exciting, as it is just in general a really cool character that would be cool to get a bit more exposure. Moving on from The Question, James Gunn liked to tweet about Superman and Lois being the second most watched DC show on HBO Max. I don't think this is connected to his universe at all. In fact, he might have just liked it because the tweet also mentioned that Superman and Lois is second place, only behind Peacemaker, which is in first place. Although that's not really what the tweet is about, so I highly doubt that's why James Gunn liked it. Honestly, I'm only mentioning this because with Gunn behind everything at DC, including TV shows, I just hope this may mean that Superman and Lois will continue for a few more seasons. We are getting a new Superman that I'm excited about, but he'll be a younger version. The older dad version we see on Superman and Lois is in a completely different stage in his life, so they could definitely coexist on TV and in the movies. I am excited about this new version of Superman, but for right now, until that new one comes out, and maybe even then, Tyler Hoechlin on Superman and Lois is my favorite live-action portrayal of the character, and I'm really just hoping that this tweet's liking means that Superman and Lois will continue for a few more seasons, although ultimately that decision might be out of James Gunn's hands, and instead, it might be a decision that only the CW can make. Gunn reliked the tweet where Matt Reeves reaffirmed what Gunn said about his version of Batman remaining separate from a few weeks ago, either to make it crystal clear to us that that is in fact remaining separate, or maybe he unliked it by mistake and he didn't want people to notice and say that, oh, maybe this means that Robert Pattinson will be in his new universe in the end, because people do notice everything. Either way, it really just tells us what we already knew, which is that Robert Pattinson's Batman will be completely separate from James Gunn's universe, and we'll probably be getting a new version of Batman in that universe. And I really just wanted to take this opportunity to say that I think that new version of Batman would look really cool in a more comic booky Batman suit, like this blue one with the yellow symbol. Fan art by Smart Sheep Part, link will be in the description down below. He also made concept art for a Superman suit, and I think this would look amazing in this new universe, and these two characters would look great together. That's it for this video though. Again, like I said, not as much news as previous weeks. The question thing is definitely really exciting though, if that is going to lead into anything. But other than that, I will admit, there wasn't really much. But if you do like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe-a-ly dibble. And bye-bye.